people are on edge. And when Elon Musk is amplifying these people, like, it's very problematic.
What does that mean?
You're a woke leftist that anybody who opposes your worldview, you label an anti-Semite.
Frankly, it's true, we did call for a pause back in November after the acquisition.
Have you ever called for cancellations of companies' ads on TikTok like you did X?
Asking you.
Apologize to Elon. It's not that hard to say sorry.
When you
say sorry, you got it wrong. You got it wrong.
People?
I mean, let's be clear here. Like, this is the wealthiest man in the world running one of the most powerful media platforms on the planet. We're a nonprofit here in New York. So I think figuring out like who has the power in this relationship, it's pretty clear to me.
You're the journalist. You got all this staff here. Rebel News got all these people here. So tell me.
Don't touch his camera, mate.
I didn't.
If you've been watching our journalism from Davos at wefreports.com, you probably saw my short interaction with the director of the ADL, Jonathan Greenblatt, as he entered the World Economic Forum on day one.
How you doing, Jonathan?
I'm good.
Can I ask you something?
I'm meeting somebody. I'm sorry.
I'll walk with you. Are you like the boy who cried wolf?
Are you?
For so many years, you cried anti-Semitism and you found hatred everywhere, and then finally, Yemini from Rebel News.
What's Rebel News?
Rebel News. It doesn't matter, but finally now, when the world has turned so anti-Semitic, no one believes us because of people like you and the work you've done over so many years. Destroying our allies, making lists about our allies, people that actually defend us. You've been a big part of that problem, haven't you? Do you know the boy that cried wolf?
I'm not familiar with this story. Why don't you explain it to me?
Jonathan, it's not a joke, because the Jews around the world, we are feeling the pain, and you've alienated so many of our allies. What about Elon Musk? Somebody that's been so good?
Thanking his lucky stars saved by the heavily guarded entrance to the gate of the World Economic Forum, which was frustrating because I had a lot more to ask Greenblatt, who runs one of the most divisive organizations on the planet, and worse personally, often in the name of my Jewish community. But guess what? I haven't had a chance until now to share it with you, but I actually managed to track the ADL director again in Davos, and this time it was a fair walking distance from the safe space protected by police. So, watch, enjoy, and share my whole confrontation with ADL director Jonathan Greenblatt as he trekked through the promenade in the Swiss Alps, trying to get away from a pesky reporter that he couldn't control.
Jonathan, do we have more time today to talk? I didn't give you a chance to apologize to the Jewish community for what you've done. And what about Elon Musk? Do you think you should apologize to Elon Musk for calling him an anti-Semite when he really was the only one that ended up going to Israel, spending time with the hostage families, standing for Israel? Well, it's so unpopular because of people like you.
I think it's important to note here that since the interaction with Jonathan Greenblatt, not only has Elon Musk visited the scenes of the horrific October attack in Israel and the families of the hostages in Gaza, but the owner of X has since taken a very public tour to Auschwitz as well. I guess he's the worst anti-Semite ever.
Why are you trying to push me around? What about TikTok? Why do you focus so much on X when all the anti-Semitism is actually coming from TikTok? Have you read the story now of the boy who cried wolf? You don't want to talk? You don't like me? I'm the wrong kind of Jew? Why are you so divisive?
What's it like to be such a rebel? You're quite a rebel when you have your name monogrammed on your hat, speaking truth to power.
He cracked. And the best part is, which I didn't realize until reviewing the footage, is notice the issue he selected to have a weird go at me for. It was for wearing a Rebel branded beanie while wearing an ADL branded hat himself. Self-awareness is clearly not Greenblatt's strength. Anyways, this is where it kicked off.
What's that like? I spend my day, every day, trying to protect the Jewish people. That's
really? You've tried to protect the Jewish community. You've monetized anti-Semitism.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
You've made a business of it. You've made it your business model.
How so?
For years.
How so?
For years.
How so?
You've looked for... I'm telling you.
I want to hear your Pulitzer Prize-winning journalism explanation, please.
So for years, you've looked and found anti-Semitism where it doesn't exist, and you've
Like in
Basically
Charlottesville?
everywhere.
Like in Pittsburgh?
Basically
like in
everywhere.
Poway? Like
Every
in
single
Brooklyn?
place,
Like in Brooklyn?
Like in any
Jersey City?
conservative who
Like in
doesn't
Brooklyn?
share
Like
your
Brooklyn.
woke,
How many of
your
them, how many of
woke
them are in Brooklyn?
leftist worldview.
What does that mean?
You're a woke leftist. That anybody who opposes your worldview, you label an anti-Semite.
I want to make it clear, sometimes the ADL does actually call out anti-Semites, obviously, because as they say, even a broken clock is right twice a day. So when the ADL labels half the world as anti-Semites, they're gonna catch a few, even in Brooklyn.
Have you been to Brooklyn? Have you seen the ones assaulting?
I spent a lot of time in Crown Heights. I spent a lot of time in the Chabad community. I'm from an ultra-Orthodox family. Don't talk to me about anti-Semitism.
Don't talk to me
I know
about
exactly what anti-Semitism is. But you've monetized it for years. And now nobody, because you've, for years, claimed everybody is an anti-Semite. Everybody is a racist.
Really?
When they weren't.
Really?
There are anti-Semites and there are
Really?
racists. We
How about
don't
in
need
Are
the
they in
ADL.
Brooklyn?
Is Elon Musk an anti-Semite?
Never said he was.
I don't know. I reckon claiming Elon was engaging with anti-Semitic tropes is pretty much calling him an anti-Semite, especially when you use that to sway advertisers off the platform.
My job is to protect
Do you
the
support him standing for
My
the Jewish
job is
people?
protect
Do
the
you
Jewish
stand?
people.
Do you support Elon Musk in defending the Jewish people, in traveling to Israel to spend time with the families of hostages after you defamed
Did you
him?
read my tweet about it? You're the journalist. You got all this staff here. Rebel News got all these people here. So tell me.
Don't touch
Pull
his
up-
camera, mate.
I
Don't-
didn't.
Remember, this is the guy that wants to be in charge of defining truth, warning about the dangers of disinformation, and offering the answers to dealing with fake news. Dude, the bloke blatantly lies even when surrounded by cameras. Just imagine what he does when no one's around.
You just touched his camera.
Tell me, what did
Listen,
I say?
mate,
What
you're-
did I
you're
say?
a compulsive
What did I
liar
say?
that
Really?
has-
Who's the
that has
liar now?
defamed
Who's the liar
and-
now? Where's your? Please give me.
Libs of
give
TikTok.
me-
Why did you
tell
remove
me-
the profile on your website about
Tell
her?
me.
For those of you living under a rock who don't know the Libs of TikTok, she's a popular conservative commentator who started off by mostly just tweeting TikTok videos from insane leftists, posting their own unedited videos without any commentary. And it was that impactful that she garnered a massive following. Because let's be honest, the left do the best jobs of mocking themselves. But Chaya Rechik is certainly not an anti-Semite. In fact, she's an ultra-Orthodox Jew from the same sect that I come from. But that didn't stop the ADL from listing her on their glossary of extremism and hate until she threatened them with legal action. Oh, and if you thought that wasn't bad enough, since confronting Jonathan in Davos, a newly leaked email revealed that the ADL urged counter-terrorism in Washington to investigate Chaya and a few other conservative personalities for what they labeled anti-LGBT plus hate.
Why do you target Jews that you consider the wrong Jews? Because they have opposing worldviews. They're not woke
Like the
leftists.
anti-Zionists? Are you upset that I'm going after the anti-Zionists? Oh, so you're upset that I'm going after Jewish Voices for Peace? You're upset that I'm going after If Not Now? You're upset that I think anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism? You're upset that I go after quote-unquote left-wing people?
Now, this one was Jonathan's most disingenuous argument, and continue watching to the end because I confront him about it later in the video. But in short, Jonathan shrugs off allegations that the ADL only targets conservatives by claiming that he also goes after left-wing bigotry. The problem is that the ADL only ever calls out the left when it comes to Israel, which fuels all the conspiracy theories about Jews controlling the world and only caring about ourselves. On every other issue, the ADL sides with left-wing extremists, even against Orthodox Jews, which is precisely why the ADL is so damaging, especially to our community and Israel.
Since October 7, there has been an enormous rise of anti-Semitism, but everybody's deaf to it because for so many years, the entire world.
Help me understand that. Show me, what's the data that says, quote, the majority don't believe it's real. Can you show that?
Reality. I live in the real world, mate. Go on any platform, go walk any street, talk to anybody. People do not believe it. They think that it is just legitimate criticism of Israel, right? And that is because for so many years, organizations like the ADL defamed anybody and wrongly characterized them as racists and anti-Semites when they just had a different political view. I believe you can and you should call out genuine anti-Semites, not Elon Musk. But that's not what you did.
Is that right?
And you control the narrative and you target and you've people
down,
cancelled
slow down.
off websites.
Can you calm down? You
No,
seem
I can't. I'm very
emotional.
passionate about this issue.
I'm passionate too.
No,
but like
for you, it's a business. I get it. You don't want to.
business.
It hits your
Rebel-
pocket.
You're the business. You're
You
the
think
one monetizing
anti-Semitism kills my business?
this. Really?
Absolutely.
I'm going to guess that you're going to take the footage of this conversation and monetize it as best you can. I'll bet you'll be on there.
I'm
saying,
demonetized. The ADL shut down Rebel News' monetization.
The chutzpah of this guy. Rebel News and many other conservative outlets have lost the ability to monetize on mainstream platforms like YouTube and Meta because the ADL and their partners arbitrarily decide who deserves to be cancelled for having a different worldview.
Have you ever called for the cancellation of advertising on TikTok like you did with X?
We've continued to focus on protecting the Jewish people.
That wasn't my question. That wasn't my question. That wasn't my question.
Well, I'm trying.
Did
to
you ever
answer
call?
your
You
question.
did no. It's a yes or no. Have you ever called for
I've
the?
asked you a number of
Have you?
questions here,
I'm
and
the
you
one
haven't
asking
answered
questions.
any of it. No,
Have you
Whoa, rebel.
ever?
I'm being
Have
a
you?
rebel.
Have
I'm being
you
a rebel. I'm
ever
asking you
called
questions. These
for
are rebel questions.
cancellations
These are
of
rebel
companies'
questions.
ads
These are
on
rebel
TikTok like you
questions.
did
Well, I'm
X?
asking you.
Apologize to
I'm asking
Elon.
you.
It's not that hard to say sorry.
When you
Say sorry. You got
Have
it wrong.
apologized
You
to
got it
Jewish
wrong.
People? Have you
I have nothing to apologize. I fight for Jews. I actually went there and
Tell me.
I served in Golani. I fought in Gaza.
Bravo.
What have you done?
Yasher
You've
koach.
monetized.
Yasher
You've
koach. Good for
monetized
you.
our pain.
Good for you.
Yeshar koach, he says in Hebrew, which for those of you who don't understand means more power to you, followed by good on you in English. He says condescendingly. Unlike that keyboard warrior, I didn't do it for me. I actually put my life on the line to fight on the front line against real anti-Semites in Gaza as Greenblatt sat safely behind a computer screen, ruining innocent people's lives, all for a cheap buck.
Will you admit that Elon Musk has done more than any other platform to actually stand for truth? His community notes is more successful than any of those censorship organizations that you've backed so hard.
Which ones?
You know, are you denying backing the
Which
fact
ones?
checkers?
Which fact checkers?
There's a whole list of them, depends what country. Are you denying that you work alongside fact checkers to fight misinformation and disinformation about racism, hate speech, or anything like that? Are you denying that?
I'm very.
Are you denying that?
What we definitely work to fight, anti-Semitism.
Do you deny working with the fact checkers? We definitely work to fight, anti-Semitism. So that's a yes. You work with the gatekeepers of truth, even though you're a compulsive liar.
Last chance to apologize. Last chance to apologize
And
to
your
Elon
chance to
Musk.
apologize to the Jewish people for this
this.
travesty that you call.
This is an attack on Jews.
And there you go. When he has nowhere else to turn, Jonathan Greenblatt from the ADL resorts to essentially labeling me a proud Jew and anti-Semite.
Do you think this is an attack on Jews? Because who are you?
I think you.
You
I think
have
you-
monetized our
I think
pain.
slandering
You're
me-
a sick person.
I
hope.
Again, I hope that you find this gratifying.
Tikkun olam. You know what that means, yeah?
Sure. Ask for
Tikkun
dispatch.
olam. Olam.
So after practically calling me an anti-Semite for daring to question him, I advised Jonathan to repent through the Jewish concept of Tikkun Olam, which means heal the world. Now, did you notice the ADL director's natural response to that? Jonathan tried ordering the officer to check my ID. Now think about it. That's how he operates in real life. Now just imagine for a second that that cop had the authority on a social media platform, that the head of the ADL demanded I be reprimanded for confronting him online. Heck, this video might just do it, so I'll probably be cancelled from platforms where he wields any power. Thank God it's not X, so I'm cool, just make sure to follow me there. But seriously, this interaction was in the real world, so there was nothing he could do. And in fact, I got one more chance to confront him the very next day about something he said.
Jonathan, I've come to apologize. I've come to say sorry. I've had a rethink and I was a bit emotional. My inner leftist came out. But I want to talk about something. I had time to think about something you said. Jonathan, you said you take leftists. You say you take them on, but you've only done it since October 7. Isn't that the reason why so many hate us? Because you only pick on leftists when it's about Israel feeding the narrative? No? I had to think about what he said, and he's right, because he has taken on leftist Jews, but only since October 7, which feeds that narrative as to why people think that Jews are controlling the world, controlling the narrative, and only protecting their own. He doesn't take on the woke left. In fact, he will fight for their cause on everything, including banning many people he labelled as Islamophobes for warning us about what came true after October 7.
If you think it's important for the world to see the real face of Jonathan Greenblatt, make sure to like, comment, but most importantly, share this far and wide. Because unlike the ADL, we're not partners with the gatekeepers of truth. And then head over to wefreports.com, check out all of our videos and reports from Davos. And if you believe in our mission, please consider chipping in to help cover the cost of getting to the Swiss Alps to confront Jonathan and his friends at the World Economic Forum. wefreports.com.